we've got some nurses on the line, and we'll bring them on board. I think they're standing back in the backdrop here. So hopefully they join us on screen momentarily, and then we can introduce them and get them to introduce themselves and what they're doing.
So we had some discussion last week for International Nurses Day, right? And we spoke to some of those nurses. We've had some conversation about education as well. So I think it's timely, Aaron, like you say, that we have for our next segment here, some nurse educators. So in particular, and we'll get them up on screen shortly, we have Mrs. Kathy Ann Swan, who's a registered nurse and the director of nursing at Bermuda College. We have Ms. Renee Faulcon, who's a registered nurse and nursing lecturer at Bermuda College, and Ms. Karen Grant Simmons, who's an adjunct nursing lecturer at Bermuda College, and also the clinical manager of acute community mental health services at the Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute. Good afternoon, ladies. Can you introduce yourselves so that we know who's who? One of you, I think, are muted. Can the other two of you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. So the two of you at the bottom of the screen without the orange wall, if you could just identify yourselves and let us know who's who.
Okay, I'm Renee Faulcon. I'm nursing lecturer at Bermuda College.
Okay.
Karen Grant Simmons, adjunct nursing lecturer, Bermuda College, clinical manager, acute community mental health services at the Mid-Atlantic.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So last but not least, we must have Mrs. Kathy Ann Swan, who's the director of nursing education. Can you hear us okay?
I think that Nurse Swan has got to unmute herself, so hopefully she, she won't hear us. Well, actually, you can still hear us, but we won't be able to hear her, so hopefully she can hear us and press the unmute button on her screen. But I guess we can start with our other two guests. Can you guys tell us a bit about the nursing program up there at Bermuda College?
Sure, I'll take that question on. So yes, the nursing program at Bermuda College has been in existence for almost 10 years now. I think I started in 2013, but Ms. Kathy Ann Swan, when she comes on, she can tell you the work that she has done over the years to get the program started. The program consists of students completing arts and science courses first. That's the prerequisites that they have to complete. So that will be like your English, your math, social sciences, natural sciences, and mainly like your biologies, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, medical nutrition. Once the student has completed the prerequisites, they're able to be admitted into the nursing program and complete the nursing courses. Completion of the courses will award the student with an Associate of Science in Nursing degree. So that's basically the program in a nutshell.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Ms. Renee Faulcon.
I wanted to know whether Nurse Swan, whether she can hear us, whether she's unmuted herself as yet.
You can
hear us, but we still can't hear you, Nurse Swan. No, so just feel free. I would suggest keep working on it, and if you're able to get your mic unmuted, then just jump in, and we'll be able to add you in the conversation.
Nurse Grant Simmons, can you tell us a bit about what you do, particularly in respect of your mental health aspect of your profession? Can you tell us a bit more about that? And then I'm going to have some questions on how COVID-19 has affected the work that you do.
Well, for me as an adjunct lecturer, I teach psychiatric nursing. That syllabus entails covering the diagnostic criteria for varying mental disorders, utilizing the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, 5th edition by the American Psychiatric Association. The students also have to complete mental status assessments, interpret mental health clients' history and behavior to formulate and characterize nursing diagnosis. They have to choose expected outcome for clients, work collaboratively with a multidisciplinary team to develop treatment plans, implement evidence-based nursing interventions, evaluate to the extent how did their expected outcome, to the extent how was it met. Also, they have to learn about the legal and ethical basis of care, voluntary versus involuntary treatment, utilization of the Mental Health Act. Therapeutic communication is also very important, how we speak to the mentally ill. And a lot of the NCLEX-based questions are based on therapeutic communication. One rule of thumb for any nurse that is sitting the NCLEX exam is that you don't ask why questions in psychiatry, because that lets the client become defensive. It is like I'm asking you, why didn't you do the breakfast this morning? Why are you late for work this evening? So instead we will say, what happened this morning? What do you have against your medication? So they have to go through all those varying experiences.
Mhm. Now, thank you very much for that, Ms. Nurse Karen Grant Simmons. Can you speak? You're both nursing lecturers up at the college. Do you do things outside of the lecturing as well? So, for example, Nurse Grant Simmons, you're the Acute Community Mental Health Services Clinical Manager at Maui. What exactly does that entail?
I'm coordinating care for clients out into the community. So we have to look at primary prevention, which is health promotion, secondary prevention, which is treatment, and also tertiary prevention, which is rehabilitation, trying to get clients back to where they were before.
Thank you. And Nurse Kathy Ann, can you hear us now, or can we hear you? You want to try one more time? Okay, I don't think we're able to get Mrs. Kathy Ann Swan, but we're grateful for the other two guests who are still here with us. And perhaps you'll be able to fill in where needed when it comes to the education conversation. So you're both lecturers up at the college. What has the demand been like before this? I mean, we've had International Nurses Day last week. Certainly nurses play a fundamental role as it relates to the current coronavirus crisis. What is the situation when it comes to nursing education in Bermuda? How has the demand been, and how has teaching been affected by it?
Okay, I can answer the issue on teaching because Karen works at MWI, but this is my full-time job. So I'm fully immersed in the nursing education role at Bermuda College. But when we received the news that we had to switch from in-class to online learning, we had to rethink how we were going to present the course content to the students. For me, I teach mainly medical surgical nursing. I also teach fundamental nursing. And each of those courses have a clinical component and a lab component to that. So switching from the theory to online learning was not such a challenge for me because I have 10 years experience with online education. So I felt it was an easy switch, but there were some faculty members at Bermuda College, which it was a learning curve for them, and they had to learn how to do online education using video conferences, and Zoom was the main platform that we used. For me, the challenge came with the hands-on part. Normally in our clinical or lab setting, the students are doing hands-on practical work. They're doing skills, they're learning how to administer medications, therapeutic communications with the clients, inserting Foley catheters, and various skills. So I had to think and make a quick switch, like how can I teach the practical skills using online? So what I decided to do was kind of use the resources that I had, PowerPoint, using Google. They have Google Forms, Google Images, and put it all in a case study so that the students are able to learn from the case studies without having the lab or the simulation piece to it. They also have their own supplies at home. So they carry a nursing bag with them that has all of their supplies that they need to perform certain skills in the clinical setting or in the lab. So it was kind of cute to see the students use these supplies on their stuffed animals in the home. So to administer medication, they had the stuffed animal in front of them. They're talking to the stuffed animal as if they were talking to a patient. So I thought that was really interesting how they used their imagination to be able to perform the skills that they would normally do in a lab or in the clinical setting.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Is there a delay here?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a delay, but you can go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was just going to say, that's very informative. What particularly, and I don't know if this has been discussed as yet in the Bermuda College context, but how do you see the education, the practical hands-on aspect of nursing education changing post-COVID-19 in light of some of the restrictions and, guidelines that we have for personal interaction?
Well, as far as nursing education, yes, we have to sort of rethink and reinvent sort of how we do the practical at this moment in time. And generally, during any sort of crisis, students are not allowed in the clinical setting, and that's understandable because they don't have the experience to manage it. But it's also a learning experience for students. So they are right now learning about COVID-19 and how it can affect patients. Some of them are volunteering in various areas, so they are gaining the experience. So once they're ready to get out there and become the RN, they already have the tools that are available to them to kind of just jump right in and learn about caring for patients that are experiencing the virus, coronavirus that's going around. However, as far as in the classroom, Karen can also speak to this as well. We have to kind of rethink how we're presenting the course. Right now, before coronavirus, we were standing in front of a class and we were talking to students. Students were in front of us, but now we have to do things online. We have to do things through Zoom and just rethink how we are presenting the information. So instead of, as I said before, in a practical situation, the hands-on, we now have to use the resources that are online. And there are numerous resources for education. You just have to look out for them. Bermuda College has been very instrumental in helping us use the online platform Zoom to help us deliver the courses. And so those are some of the things that we are using. But like I said, there's plenty online resources for educators out there that they can use to help with the course delivery. And Karen can probably speak to a little bit more as well.
Sometimes also you have to use online scenarios, vignettes. So these are like case studies, case presentations, and then you will ask the students questions in order to stimulate their critical thinking, knowledge, and skills. But the clinical experience, the practicum, is very much important because the student has to be able to demonstrate that they are able to apply theory to practice. You might have an A student in the classroom. That doesn't mean that they'll be able to carry out those procedures when it comes on to practicum. So the practice is very much important.
Well, it's very refreshing to hear how Bermuda College has adapted and shifted in light of the crisis. I mean, nurses certainly are important now more than ever when it comes to treating patients and making sure we all stay healthy. So it's refreshing to hear that despite some of the physical spaces being closed down, that we're still able to deliver education and produce some high quality nurses. As we begin to wrap up with you, Nurse Renee Faulcon and Nurse Karen Grant Simmons, and thank you for your time thus far, I just want to leave you with another question. How can people get involved? What would you say to perhaps some of the Bermudians out here who are looking for maybe a career change in light of the current crisis, who'd like to become a nurse? Does Bermuda College provide all of the resources necessary to become a qualified nurse in Bermuda? And if so, what are the next steps? What would you say to our listeners who may be interested in a career in nursing?
Okay, that's a very great question, Ryan. Thank you so much for that. And Bermuda College is equipped at this moment to have students come in to our nursing program and achieve an Associate of Science in Nursing degree. So if any person is interested in becoming a registered nurse, they can certainly call the Bermuda College 236-9000, and you can speak with Ms. Kathy Ann Swan, or you can speak with the recruiter, or they can speak with myself to get further information on the requirements to enroll in the nursing program. They have to be mindful that they do have to take prerequisites first. So making sure that they understand that they have to take the English, the math, and the sciences prior to coming into the nursing program. It is a very rigorous program. Once the students complete the program, they're eligible to sit for what we call the NCLEX, which is the external exam that all nurses must take on this side of the world in order to be licensed as a registered nurse. Once they become licensed as a registered nurse, they're eligible to apply to the Nursing Council, Bermuda Nursing and Midwifery Council, to gain their licensure or registration here in Bermuda. And they are eligible to work at the hospitals here in Bermuda. So yes, they can certainly call to Bermuda College and get information on what they need to do and the prerequisites that are needed to get into the nursing program.
Well, thank you very much. Did you have
And I would also
add?
like to add for mental health, after completing that Associate of Science degree in general nursing, then we have an $80,000 scholarship for persons who wish to pursue a Bachelor of Science in nursing mental health. So $40,000 2-year program, $40,000 each year, $80,000 by BHP.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So unfortunately, Aaron, we didn't get to hear from Mrs. Kathy Ann Swan, who's the Director of Nursing Education up at the college. We did have some technical difficulties, but I would say that Nurse Renee and Nurse Karen, you both did a great job of filling in where needed. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on today's show. We're refreshed and feeling empowered when it comes to the quality of nurses in Bermuda. We had some great ones on last week, and we had some more great ones on today. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us and shedding some light on nursing education in Bermuda.
Yes, can I just say one last thing? I'm sorry, but this week would have been graduation for all students at Bermuda College. So I want to wish them all well. They have completed a successful year, not only in nursing education, but also at Bermuda College. So I want to say congratulations to all Bermuda College graduates.
Absolutely. And congratulations to you for teaching them. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. So we did have some nice comments here from the general public. Judith Parsons says, thank you, nurse educators. And Lovette Pemberton says, excellent talks. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Nurse Renee. Thank you very much, Nurse Karen. Enjoy your afternoon, and we appreciate you sharing your time with us.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.